Got it. All right, grab the other one. Yep, just pick him up. Pick him up. There you go. You got it.
Good job, Ben. Hey guys, here's a little disclaimer here on the front end of this video. We are butchering turkeys today. I actually put a disclaimer on the front of the last video because I was talking about butchering. I don't ever want you guys to be caught off guard, especially with autoplay on YouTube, if butchering is not something that you want to see or consume that kind of content. I'm going to show a little bit of the process today, and I just want to give you a chance to click off if this is not something that you want to see. But we do raise our own meat here. We feel like that is the best way, if we are going to be meat eaters, to guarantee that our animals are treated with dignity throughout their life and in their death. So that's what we're doing. I'm about to turn the camera around. This is your last warning if you don't want to see this. All right. Hey, Will.
What's up, y'all?
Will is currently dressing out this bird. Wes.
Hi.
So Wes has been doing the eviscerating. So right here we have a bunch of ice and then the birds. We've already butchered all of the big ones, all the toms, which were significantly larger. They probably dressed out around 20 or so pounds. Right now we have a few hens left that we're working on that are a lot smaller.
You're a growing feller.
This is the first few we did. These are the really big ones. So these will be like the Thanksgiving turkeys right here. Now we have to keep these on ice for like 48-ish hours. Wes, it's about 48 hours that we do ice, right?
What are those, eggs? Are those eggs?
I think that's right. Between 24 and 48. Yeah. What do you see? What do you have?
I caught it! Eggs!
These are
eggs.
Caught it!
Yeah, so these are young. They weren't laying yet, but Wes is showing how that was in there. That's pretty neat. So these are the entrails. Oh, you got a scratch, a turkey scratch. We need to get that clean.
It's fine.
Yeah, we'll put some ointment on it when we get inside. So anytime you do any butchering, if something dies, it's going to go through rigor mortis, which is basically a chemical response, which causes the meat to be really stiff. So if you, Ben is my child who's very interested in this. He literally just we pulled in the driveway, ran down to get him from school, and he said, "Can I do my homework after butchering?" I was like, "Yeah." Rigor mortis, you have to set your birds on ice for at least 24 hours, up to 48 hours. And then after that, you can shrink wrap and bag them. If you try to eat something that was very freshly processed, it can end up being really stiff. Now, these are young turkeys.
Be careful with this because you can hit the gallbladder.
I think these are somewhere around, beautiful. What are these? These are like, are we at like 14 or 15 weeks? 16, something like that?
I want to cut out.
probably closer to 16.
Okay, Wes said it was about 16. I can't remember exactly when it is. These are young birds, which means once they have been cooled properly, we put some vinegar in the ice water. They'll be real tender and moist. But if I were to take one of these and cook them tonight, it might be real tough because it's still going through that rigor mortis process. So we leave them in coolers on ice for that 2 days so that settles out. Now I will probably take one and cook it fresh. The reason we are doing our Thanksgiving and Christmas turkeys so early is that these things grow out super fast. If we waited until right before the holiday to process these, they would be like a 30-pound dressed bird. It would be way too big to feasibly cook in an oven. So we process them now, we freeze them, thaw it out for the holidays, but it's still the best turkey you've ever had. So we don't waste anything in this process. Wes is scalding right here, which makes them a lot easier to pluck. Turkeys are difficult to pluck, which I'm going to show you guys on this one once we get it over here to the table. My job is kind of the finish work.
Kidneys and beans.
So Will is actually going to take this organ meat, the livers, the gizzards, and he's going to process those. We keep all of the feathers. These go into the compost. This is great for soil, and we'll save all of these, as well as the blood. So this is pretty gruesome if you're sensitive to this stuff. But we use these kill cones. We're able to put the birds in there. Whenever you turn a bird upside down, it kind of stuns them. All the blood rushes to their head, and it makes it a simpler process. And then we also put a tote underneath here to catch all the blood, because we don't want to waste anything. We want to value the fact that this is a life that is ending for our sake, and therefore we don't want to waste anything. So that is why the blood goes in the compost, the feathers go in the compost, Will's taking the organs, the feet and necks are going into broth, and then of course the carcasses themselves are going into being cooked. And then after they're cooked, all of the carcasses, the bones, will be saved and made into broth. So we'll get as much as we possibly can out of these birds. What do you think, Will?
I worked all summer in the sun and the heat, and Jess never got me any popsicles.
That's what you have to say.
No, it's not too bad. Gotta have a couple cold beers.
You're a punk. We have a really good plucker. Is Featherman, is that the brand?
What is it?
I'm pretty sure it's called Featherman. It does really good, but turkey feathers are kind of a booger. And so what we do, which these are the hens, they're not quite as difficult to pluck. The males tend to have a little bit more established feathers, especially on their tails and their wings. This one plucked really nicely, actually. So we have pliers out here because sometimes with turkeys specifically, you'll have like these areas of their feather shafts that are just kind of hard to get out. So we just pluck them out with pliers. Where's the other pair? I don't like this pair.
Hey, you can't help anymore if you're changed into clean clothes. Okay, do you have your stuff laid out to change quickly for later?
So I'm the cook in this family, primarily. Jeremiah does cook some and helps me, but more so like when I line him out with a meal plan. And I'm a little more thorough when it comes to plucking out feather shafts and stuff like that than everybody else, just because if it doesn't get done thoroughly here, it ends up in the kitchen needing to be done in there. So I am pretty meticulous in pulling out all of these little ends of the feather shafts. I'm the one who suggested we get pliers out here to do that, just because if you don't do it now, you've got to do it in the kitchen. I mean, obviously you could cook this without being so meticulous, but to me, it's a little gross. I like to be a little more thorough.
Peppa still got it.
Peppa still got it.
Put me over the fence, Sonny.
So how many birds did we have? 12. And it's taken us what? I mean, we only started like 2 hours ago.
Not long. Yeah, not long.
It wasn't very long.
Just need a couple fellas.
With a few people, with turkeys. Now chickens go a whole lot faster than this. They're a lot easier to pluck. You pluck multiple chickens. I think we put like 3 chickens at a time in that plucker, and then they don't have to be as meticulously gone over as the turkeys. Just like there's a lot more that has to be hand plucked after plucking a turkey in a plucker, whereas with chickens they're more complete coming out of the plucker, and you're doing multiple at a time. So we typically will harvest, like, we can do 50 chickens in about the same amount of time that it takes us to do 15 turkeys. We have ducks out there that we're raising. For me, we're raising ducks for the first time, and I've heard that ducks are like really a booger as far as processing because their feathers have a bunch of oil on them. Wes was talking about how he watched a video where Joel Salatin uses wax on them. I don't know, we've got some learning to do. That might be a little bit of an interesting day when we process those ducks, Wes.
Yeah.
Hey, look who just showed up. What's up, Daniel?
What's up?
Daniel came to get his egg and milk pickup for the week. You already knew we were doing this, so it's not alarming to drive up one, but however, earlier I left to go get the kids from school, and the FedEx driver was pulling in at the same time, and I was like, you know,
Farm life.
it's farm life. It's we're accustomed to the fact that people like don't get how we live. Like, so this kind of thing is bewildering. I think birds are less bewildering for people than like large animals, like when we have a pig hanging from a tree. I mean, nobody likes this day. This is not a day that we are like excited to do. Something has to die for us to live, and we're owning that, but we understand that it's not necessarily culturally normal. So when I see the FedEx driver coming in the driveway, I'm like, okay, it is what it is. This is where we work. This is what we do. We have to stay close to the water, so it's right here at the end of the driveway. You putting the vinegar in? How much do you put?
Go with your heart.
What is
full of turkeys? Yeah.
What does it do?
The white vinegar in an ice bath over 24 hours will break down the rigor mortis and makes the meat more tender, and it also makes it easier to package them. If you package them too quickly, you'll ruin it. It won't taste good.
They'll be stiff.
They'll be stiff and the meat will be tough.
Nice.
I'm gonna put more in there. That's a big cooler.
Your heart tells you more?
Yeah.
For reference, we'll probably use, what, 2 gallons on all these 12 birds and 3 coolers. We buy this at the restaurant store in bulk so we can get a better deal on it, which is just 5% acidity white vinegar.
We need some more ice. There's a bag right there.
Hey, Joe.
Almost left my camera outside. Alright, we got it all broke down. The guys are finishing up cleaning. I'm taking the necks and the feet up to the house to put these in a roaster so I can make some broth. Hey guys, what's up? So it's actually a couple of days later, and I wanted to kind of wrap this video up. I realized I didn't finish it upon editing the first half of it. I'm in the kitchen right now, and right here I have my broth made out of the turkey necks. I made a mistake and I wanted to disclose it so maybe I could cause somebody else the same mistake. We have always butchered chickens by dunking the whole bird in the water, and the feet go in too to scald them and then pluck. And when you do that, when it comes time to skin the feet, the skin peels off super easily. With these turkeys, they're so large that they were hanging by the feet, and we were dipping them into the scalder and the feet were not getting dipped. And I didn't realize it till I brought everything in to start working on the necks and feet for broth. And I was like, I do not remember this being so hard to peel the skin off the feet. And that's when I realized what we had done wrong. And at that point, they'd been sitting on ice for a while and we'd cleaned everything up. And so I actually ended up using the feet for dog treats instead of broth. I think if you could get them clean enough, you could probably make the broth with the skin on. I don't know, maybe people with experience on that weigh in. We've always just skinned them. But it's always been really easy because we dunked them. And we haven't raised meat turkeys in like, I don't know, maybe like 2.5 or 3 years. We haven't raised any meat turkeys since we've lived here. I don't really remember what we did last time on those. Anyway, make sure that while you're running your scalder, you scald the feet so you can peel them easily. The skins will come right off if they've been scalded, but if they haven't, then it's not gonna work out well. So here's my slow roasted broth. I love to use roaster ovens. You can get these around Thanksgiving, which Thanksgiving's coming up. They're way cheaper around Thanksgiving in big box stores. I mean, I think I usually pay something around $30 or $40 for one of these. I have about 4 or 5 of them. I loan them out to people. But I like it because you can put all your bones for broth in the roaster oven with no liquid. Turn the roaster oven on to about 400 and roast them for an hour. And then pour the liquid over top so you get that roasted flavor. And sometimes I will season broths, but mostly I don't. Especially if I'm doing like a long simmered bone broth. I usually just do a splash of apple cider vinegar to kind of help pull the collagen and create a really rich broth. And the reason I do not season them is because when it comes to staple ingredients that I'm going to use a bunch of different ways, I like to have complete control when I'm cooking over how that is going to be seasoned and flavored. So for instance, like a lot of times I'll cook white rice or whatever rice we're eating, in bone broth instead of water, which is going to infuse a lot of nutrition into that rice. So if we're eating a grain, at least it's going to have protein and it's going to have that collagen and all that stuff. And I don't want it to have a bunch of seasoning, because I may be using that rice in an Asian dish that has like a sticky orange sauce or something like that, that I don't necessarily want a bunch of rich, garlicky, brothy, oniony flavors. I want it to be sort of a neutral. So I don't season my broths. It's just plain slow cooked. I've got my jars ready here. I'm about to can this, and I'm actually previewing a vlog that I'm getting ready to upload for you guys. Kind of multitasking, and I just wanted to pop on here and clarify that about the feet, and then tell you thank you for watching. I went pretty extensive about kind of our stance on raising animals for meat in a vlog last week. I filmed it the same day as the first half of this video, but I'll put a link to that in case you missed it. I think it's a really good conversation, and it's just why we do this. It is a conviction for us. It's not for everybody, I understand that, but it's definitely what we feel like we should do, and what does best to honor our animals. So thank you guys for hanging out with me today, the other day, and all the days you do. I bless you. Until next time.